Good morning. Hello, everyone. This is Life Matters because it does. And my name is Renée Miereanu, and I have two guests here today. This is very exciting because this is such a great name. Missy Galore is here with us with her red, yellow, and all kinds of hot colored hair. And then we have Ms. Starlight.
Good morning. Thanks for inviting me to co-host with you today, Renee.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. And good morning, Missy.
It's so wonderful to be here.
I'm so happy. This is like feminista. It is. It's like feminista time.
A feminista morning.
A feminista morning. And Missy, you activate hearts?
That is true.
Oh, this is going to be so interesting.
I am a heartist.
She's a heartist.
An artist turned artivist turned heartist.
Yes, there you go.
Because it all starts with a heart.
It all does, doesn't it? And life matters.
Life does matter.
And the heart gives us life. So that's why you're here.
Indeed.
Yes.
I
Indeed.
feel like we're all connected to each other through the portal of the heart.
Wonderful. And you're a Shamanatrix.
Indeed.
Oh, God, I love that term. You made these up, didn't you?
Shamanatrix was an evolution when I was moving from artivism to heartivism and really making the dedication that my creativity would help bridge worlds, connect people to the infinite through the portal of their heart.
It's true. It's true.
And that sense of bringing us into a state. You know, a lot of us are talking about heart coherence these days and what it means to really embody well-being and connectivity. And that's one of the great gifts of creativity. And I remember thinking, you know, shamans are known for riding the drum beat across the worlds. And so I thought, this is truly my inspiration to be, that's where all the creations come from. And that's where we all touch. And then for the divine femme, of course, why do I want to say shaman, man,
Right.
when I'm a woman and actually a cute girl in my heart?
Cute.
So
Okay.
tricks.
Very cute.
Thank you. So tricks is actually in Latin when they had masculine and feminine nouns. Creator was the male deity. Creatrix was the female deity. So
Comes from.
it is where the tricks comes from. So it's funny that now the only word you really have for it is dominatrix,
Exactly.
where we're using it, dominator, dominatrix, but it's really about the feminine agency in a noun. So this is a gender alchemy prayer that by what I'm doing, I'm actually embodying the masculine and the feminine with a radical cuteness not seen for millennia.
I'm so glad you said that about creatrix, because I often wondered if it was pronounced creatrix or creatress. It's creatrix.
Well, the Latin is creatrix.
Okay.
There's other Romance languages that would use that now,
Tress.
but when we
Yeah.
go back, you know, it's kind of a fascinating thing that we are living in this time where we get to really be who we are, express ourselves, find our journeys. We have the safety to live our lives, even with the imbalances that we still have
As
with
far as
gender
being-
inequality. But, you know, at the same time, we can only begin to imagine what it was like when the masculine and feminine were truly equal in form, and what it was for that feminine touch, because we've been so colonized in that way, spiritually, where we're living in a time where we've not only lost touch with what our ancient roots were, but they were literally, beaten out of people in place after place where, conquest colonialism took people off of their native connection to the land and the earth and the stars and that like joyful heart and said, no, you must conform to our way of society.
Which was the feminine was less than, is what I'm hearing.
We see it, right?
Right.
It was, we ended up with a system that's really male dominated.
Masculine dominated.
And, even in our modern times where this has already been happening for so many millennia, but I mean, we all grew up thinking about the witch trials and what happened with the witch hunts. Mm-hmm. I remember I was doing shows over in France in Toulouse. I stayed in a Cathar castle, and I thought it was going to be really exotic and fancy. And it was actually this fortress with windows an inch wide, but, like 2 feet long, so they could look outside with their eyeball and stick their arrow out. And I was asking, like, what happened? What happened to the Cathars? And they said they were murdered by the Inquisition. Wow. I said, why? What was their crime? There are 2 crimes. Men and women could lead service. They could eat while they prayed.
Wow.
I mean,
where do you think that originated, this kind of thinking relative to the strictness of it all?
I think it's political control masquerading as spirituality to bring people into a conformity of a dominant political system, and
which is mostly the masculine.
Yeah, I mean,
patriarchal society.
We've really been living in a lot of patriarchy, and I'm the first person, I'm a hetero girl. I love men. I love boys. I love all beings in all forms of expression as long as they're kind.
Right.
Right? That's our prime directive. But I do feel like that's why I actually have to kind of call it radical cuteness, because even to put the idea that we're going to be able to touch spirit through creative, playful joy is still a fairly radical concept. We hear so much about mindfulness. A lot of it is just like, very controlled, and self-regulation is definitely paramount. We have to be able to understand our emotions and regulate our emotions so that we show up with right action. But to expand this sense of what it is to be spiritual or what it is to be mindful into appreciation, adoration, enjoying the physical, loving our beautiful bodies that we're born into.
As feminine and masculine?
As all, yes.
Yes, okay.
As
Just
all
getting
beings.
Clear. Yes.
Exactly, because, I mean, I am excited to talk about me with you and this beautiful audience, but to be where I am also, just honors my journey of how I came to my thoughts and my experiences and why it's so important to me.
Okay, so how did you come to these thoughts?
I feel like, as I incarnated somewhat of an animist, believing that all life is alive and we're all connected. And that's always been my core belief.
How old were you when that belief came?
I felt that way even as a child.
So very young.
It was my good fortune to be in a secular environment where I was allowed to believe what I believed. And my parents were not, didn't have me conform into that. But what I would see was a lot of challenges that we would go through as a family.
Tell us some of those challenges.
You know, my mom struggled a lot with her happiness and her identity. And she's on the other side of the veil right now. So I want to celebrate that we were able to come into good resonance before she passed. But as a child, she was really unhappy and angry, and would...
When you were a child.
Yeah, when I was a child.
Unhappy.
Yeah. Oh, did I misspeak that? Yeah.
You just said as a child. I just wanted to clarify. Not when she was a child.
You know, I'm sure her childhood was pretty challenging for her.
Yeah.
And, you know, she had a lot of things that were oppressed on her about conforming to an idea of femininity that she didn't believe in. And so that definitely was like residue.
That affected you.
Yeah, you know, I have a strange story with her where I'm a C-section baby.
Okay.
We're born on the same day.
You and your mother?
My mother and I are born on the same
Wow.
day. Yeah. And she was actually really angry and resentful about it.
That's
no.
right. You took away her birthday.
And what I said to her was, I was an appointment.
Wow.
Why are you doing this to me? Like, I didn't even pick this
could've
day.
Scheduled me the day
Like,
before.
just let me,
Or after.
whatever. Let me squirt out on my natural time. But it's, you know, but for her, what she was saying to me was, no, Missy, you don't understand. The doctor wouldn't let me schedule my own day.
Yeah.
Because they thought that they knew better than me.
Right. That's
Right.
right, because of the patriarchal.
She felt that pressure.
Yep.
Imagine that. It took actually like many years for that to really sink in.
Right.
Like, wow, she couldn't just say to the doctor, let's do another day.
No, we
and
had
be
no
listened
choice.
to.
Right.
No, we had no choice at those times because I'm a lot older than you two, and I remember that. We had no choice.
Right.
They didn't know much about, they wanted to control women, even in that genre.
Yeah,
Even
and take over birth,
Yep.
which we've been doing for millennia just fine.
In the fields, and we dropped the kids in the fields.
Yeah, I know. That's why we're celebrating
Yes.
the agency that we have and still highlighting that there's more to go for us
goodness.
as people.
Yeah,
and
that glass ceiling has to break.
and that sense in our heart of really respecting all beings and all walks of life, and the sense that, you know, femininity doesn't mean that your divine power is that you're like just as hardline in the boardroom, or you're just the super femme model ingenue. You know, it's also just that sense of just the sweet, cute things in life that still often get relegated to naivete and, you know, ignorant well-wishing, which is like, why not just walk around and smile at everybody? Why not just be dressed in fun colors just because it brings a smile, or talk to a flower because it's got a lot to say? All these sweet ideas that it doesn't mean that you need this anatomy to appreciate it. But when we look at how our culture defines these things, it does sort of get pigeonholed to like, that's what young girls do before they figured out that they need to conform and, you know, just walk the path we want you to walk. No, now is our time to say, well, okay, thank you for all the advances that our ancestors have provided for us. And we're going to continue this growth for the generations and bring in the beauty and the sweetness and the cuteness and the fun and the laughter with our life path.
Right.
And this is the radical cuteness you're speaking of, and that you totally embody. Like, why not just sing your words and wear glitter eyeshadow and
Oh, yep.
create fluffy wands to fluff people up with that we will get to.
Yes, and you won your song, LOVEolution, won a Global Peace Song Award.
Is that the fluff the
Gratefully
goodness?
true. No, it's a song called LOVEolution. It's a prayer for peace from the Planck spherical unit to the galactic infinity.
Okay.
So
Renee doesn't know what that means.
No, I have
Either
no
do
idea
I.
what that
Actually, can you say it again?
Okay.
I didn't understand it either.
all right, well, just to put it into the flow, I study a lot of cosmology and physics
Okay.
and biofeedback, and I love that bridging of spirituality and art in life. And we talk in our contemporary times that the Planck spherical unit is the smallest measurement we have of space-time.
I have to
what?
say it.
Excuse me. The what?
Planck.
Planck
Planck.
Planck.
spherical
Spherical
unit.
unit.
Planck spherical unit. Is that the smallest?
That is the smallest measurement. It's named after a wonderful scientist, Max Planck, who he's a Nobel laureate, but he's also, was very vocal at understanding that when we're talking about quantum reality, that we're all part of this living field
That's right.
that life emanates
I
from.
agree. Yes.
And a very pivotal moment in science going from this idea of materialism and that we live in a dead universe that works like a machine to we live in a vibrant living universe that creates us all. So actually a return to animism through our scientific advancements at this time. So they named this measurement after him and his work, and it's the idea that when you zoom into the most micro of the micro of the most micro,
Yeah, the
that we
smallest of
can
the
see
small,
in this 3D Earth reality,
Okay.
which we call that a Planck spherical unit.
Wow. What would that be akin to? Something we can see in this 3D reality. That's the smallest unit.
You would need,
you need,
can we really see it even as we're going through and embodying, like each electron would be, the whole communities and ecosystems of these units, right? So it's
flower.
Sounds like fractal geometry.
it is fractal geometry. It's exactly fractal geometry.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it, taking a course with Nassim Haramein, who's a wonderful physicist and thinker of our times.
Wow.
And he is publishing this equation that actually unifies the micro and the macro. And the fascination about this is maybe you've heard of the Cartesian math and you're familiar with a grid.
Nah.
The grid paper that you would get in school, where
math.
everything's blocked out like
The
squares.
small grids.
Oh, yeah.
Geometry.
Okay.
And so that's when you put everything in their little boxes, right? That's considered Cartesian math.
Okay.
And from that math, the things that are little don't match up with the things that are big.
From that map.
Yeah. But
fractals,
with the math that's being written now, and this wonderful work for the Resonance Science Foundation, they found change that square to a sphere.
Oh, give it
Continuity appears.
Uh-huh.
And then life actually grows like the flower of life. So whether you're at the smallest scale or the largest scale, it actually does make sense mathematically in our empirical ways because you can reveal the connectivity of the fractalness by the beautiful roundness of these units and spheres.
I hope my son is listening to this. I
This is
put the radio on before I left. He's almost
beautiful.
14. I said, you have to listen to Missy Galore.
Oh, thank you.
You're so cool. I'm like, I want to be like you
No.
when I grow up.
There are things that are way over my head that you said, and then other things like the Mandelbrot set, the fractal concept, but they didn't actually prove it until after computers, even though Professor Mandelbrot is the one that created this. And when I heard about this years and years and years ago, I saw something on TV about fractal geometry and how it has evolved, that I started crying because I understood that spirituality and science do meet. I remember, I mean, it was many years ago, but I remember going, oh, got it.
Well, these are game changers.
They are.
When we start doing the worldview shifts,
Right.
They really do allow us to be and exist in another way. So the Mandelbrot set and the fractalness is this idea that a self-similar pattern repeats.
Absolutely.
And as it keeps
Infinitely.
growing, you keep getting the same thing. So a very funny thing that I remember Nassim said during one of our sessions, you want proof of the fractal universe? People come out of people.
Whoa.
Whoa, that's tripping me out. Okay, this is a good break time for our...
Yes, this is a very...
Because we're all just mind blown.
Yes.
It's like those little Matryoshka dolls, people coming out of people. This is Life Matters with Renée Miereanu, and I'm DJ Starlight, co-hosting today, and our guest is Missy Galore, aka Shamanatrix Missy Galore. And I love, Missy, how you bring that like science and spirituality vibe together. And I know that you're a bad, are we allowed to say that? ASS? I think we are.
Probably
it's
not
a
but you
spare,
are
but
a
everybody
bad
just
A.
heard it.
You're a bad A.
Technician, techie. I'd love to at some point share how we met, but are we really wanting? Are we wanting to trip out more on the people inside of people?
Well, I'll just bring it on home, since my description of the LOVEolution song led to that conversation.
Okay.
So the idea of that song is that that we're praying for peace from the across all the scales, within our heart and within our society, but in all things. That was really the intention of it, since we are connected in this unified resonance. As much as we can presence that in our hearts and share that with the world, that's how we catalyze LOVEolution. And be the LOVEolution solution.
LOVEolution solution.
LOVEolution solution.
Love it.
But
love it.
what just comes to me is one has to do like some amount of inner healing work, right? To truly be the love and the light they are. Otherwise, they're still like the wounded healer kind of thing, right?
It's the only way.
Yeah.
I think, for me, I like to think that life is physically made from love, the energy of love. And that's why we talk about unconditional love, because it encompasses all of it, the good, the bad, the happy, the sad, the, confused. And so it's about honoring that it is all connected and not trying to force it into this way or pretend it's that way, but really honor the truth of what is, which is pretty complicated. We know it.
But you explain it very well, actually, because it's about the smallest of the small that we can't even perceive of to the largest of the large, and it all fits together in a sphere instead of flat. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And everything we are is all of that. We as humans are rare on the planet, correct? So there's a teeming life on the planet, and being human is so rare that being aware of that, of being human, and so create more joy rather than more like your mom, my mom. I don't know about your
My mom too.
Yeah, just unhappy women, very, very closed and controlled, and it was so important what other people think and
Reenacting their traumatic history.
And they're, you know, multi-generational, right?
Right. We've definitely got to call it out for the cross-cultural, multi-generational problems that are happening now.
That's right.
And in this time of being, you know, the world's intermixing with itself and coming into what's this new balance going to be now that all of these systems are getting shaken up.
Right. I have to read something.
Okay.
I have to, and I
Please.
forgot to read it.
We love KSKQ.
We love
Love you.
KSKQ disclaimer. Any views or opinions expressed here are solely those of the host. That's me. That's Ms. Starlight.
Me.
And the guests, and do not necessarily represent those of KSKQ Community Radio. Because here we're talking about all. Thank you for that, allowing that disclaimer.
I appreciate that. I know it can feel a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And there's certainly
It's hard to understand.
well, and there's so much importance to tradition and culture. You know, culture is the story that we collectively agree on and share together through our experience. And we're at a time when there's so much intermingling of life experience and, you know, people moving geographies, technology changing the nature of our lives. Besides our own personal wounds, culturally, there's a lot of discomfort. And how do we harmonize all the dissonance that we've experienced and are still experiencing? I mean, you think now we're having this wonderful conversation. There's people that are homeless right here. There's people that are food insecure. There's people living in war-torn areas. You know, they're saying like 1 in 5 women is sexually assaulted. I mean, things are really, there's a lot of deep, challenging issues that we have to be honest in facing. As you were saying, Star, it's the only way to be whole is to honor that the shadow is part of the light. It's all one and the same. And so, you know, in what I'm saying, I know it can come off to people, first of all, as just completely ditzy. I can get that reaction a lot. I can, you know, I can see people going, why is this person having to call out conquest, colonialism, and decolonizing spirituality and claiming femininity? Like, I think things are fine. But in my heart, I'm really just trying to represent from my most sincere place, like what I need to do to feel okay about myself as a person, which allows me to show up in my best way for everyone else that I meet. And so through the words I'm sharing here, and that's why I was so inspired to start this Cosmic Yum Medi.tainment program.
Medi.tainment.
I love
So I can see the grid with digital transmissions. You can find that on my Missy Galore website or
we're going to talk about
YouTube
that
or
real
Cross
I got to be a part of your first one. How has that been unfolding?
It's really quite a lovely experience. I'm bridging that sense of my own like kind of mystery school and inner work, and also this sense of like, may the dedication of my life be of benefit in such a way that what I create helps people smile, helps people deal with complicated things that show up in their reality, and live in more joy and happiness in life. That's the true dedication there. It's a video transmission recorded live. Zoom, people who are interested in being part of that like inner circle can get in touch with me that way. Then I record that and I publish that as a show that's a recording of the live transmission that's, you know, on MissyGalore.com. It's on my YouTube, Missy Galore. I'm also on all the platforms as Shamanatrix Missy Galore. And the dedication of the Cosmic Yum is to both get myself into that state, share that state with other people, and then create this digital space that transcends time and space, that it's an imprint of goodness. This is
I love that.
I love your mission.
Thanks.
Is it like cosmic yum, or is it like cosmic
Oh,
yum?
yeah.
It's all of the above. I'm into multiplicity and complexity.
Well, you know, it's
So-
fascinating
I love
because
that.
there's a real dichotomy here, and I want to describe it. And that would be that Missy is very colorful, beads, color,
Colorful
her
hair.
is your hair is golden yellow and with oranges and reds and long, and she has matching glitter on her upper lids, and she's adorable,
Magical.
magical, and she speaks in this highly intellectual
You'd never
concept.
expect it.
It's like it's just so much. I'm getting chills. It's so much fun to be with you.
Thank you.
And because you encompass everything, you know, what you're saying is extremely intellectual. Extremely. Don't cry, honey.
Oh, you're warming my heart.
Oh, good. That's,
I'm an emotion. These are happy.
Right.
You guys,
Being feminine.
I'm batting my
Yes.
golden eyelids at you.
So
they're
cute.
kind of like smiley, happy, wet
okay.
tears of just
Good.
like, thank you for seeing
well,
me and
it's
appreciating.
true. I do see
I
you.
appreciate that.
And then you use words that kind of boggle the mind, like cosmic yum and Shamanatrix, and yet you're referring to this highly intellectual concept of the truth of who we are, the universal truth. And so,
It's like-
human brain doesn't grok this very easily.
Yeah, like it feels like you're bridging
Yeah.
the high vibrational
Yeah.
frequencies of the heart, like the
Yeah.
high heart, your verbal descriptions
Yes.
that are very, like you're describing, Renee, very high level,
Yeah.
intellectual, and it's like a cosmic, it's like a mandala or some, it's like sacred geometry.
Yeah, well,
being
that's
around
what she's
you.
talking about. You're talking about sacred geometry.
You are. You're like the walking
It's a
sacred
life-
geometry.
Oh, thanks.
yeah.
It's a life journey.
Of
I
course.
think, you know, I have my individual inclinations and desires, and I've had to
As
deal
we
with
all
some
do.
pretty strange challenges in my life
sure.
and betrayals and things that, you know, we go through in our different ways. And so my journey to stay in my heart
Yeah.
and feel good about myself and my life has really inspired me to be looking across from the metaphysical to the cosmological to, you know, science. Not to say that, you know, what's funny about science now is a lot of the things that we're talking about were actually ancient knowledge somehow.
Yep.
And we're only just being able to understand it. And just big shout out to the Theosophical Society, who I adore so much.
What does that mean? What is theosophy?
Theosophy is actually a Greek word, and I think it's about like seeing the spirit in all things. And the Theosophical Society, their mission is honoring all traditions from the spirit to the science to beyond, and figuring out how to synthesize and use the best of all things. There was an interesting thing with the founder, Madame Blavatsky. A friend and I were just talking about it, and she was like saying to me, you know, come on, Missy, like, we all know Madame Blavatsky was a charlatan and out of her mind. And I was like, no, hon, that's not what happened. Madame Blavatsky was like one of the first people to actually take her deep studies of spiritual traditions around the world and bring it to the West. We are talking about chakras largely because of her work and what she said. And when she was talking about things that everybody wrote her off for, about life being energy and all this connection, people don't even realize she did that in the late 1800s. That was before quantum physics. And you look at how many scientists go back and they have her works.
Yeah.
They have the Gita. They've got Secret Teachings. You know, they've got Isis Unveiled. That was a huge book for Einstein and all kinds of people. And it was a perfect example of somebody being really marginalized because, one, she didn't have the correct anatomy.
Correct. She was a woman.
And she was talking about things that people didn't have access to yet. And yet, if you look back now, so much of what they were talking about are things that we take for granted as day-to-day knowledge.
So when we are confused, we become prejudiced. And that's what happened to a lot of very brilliant women because we were supposedly less than. And so it creates prejudice. So who is ever listening, if this stuff is over your head, it's over mine too. It's over all of our heads because the brain cannot grok this easily. Because it's not linear, it's not direct, it's not the masculine, you know, directness. This is all over the place. That's why this lovely woman is wearing all these colors and patterns and
Okay, this is it's the path of the heart.
Yes.
It's the heart leading, not the head leading. And so I'll flip the script a minute.
We have to
because
we're almost done. And
wow.
amazing.
So let me just say that my mission here is, because thank you for allowing me to get into all my theory and my life motivations and my mission and the way it's showing up for me to bring it into everyday language is literally, I am on a mission right now to fluff the world with love.
I want to talk about that.
So first of all, I want to go back to theosophy. Theosophy. That's theory, and philosophy is the way I see it. It's two words that have been melded together. Theory and philosophy. That's the way I saw it anyway. I don't know if you agree with that. Looking at your face, probably not.
I can't go into the etymology or I won't even talk about my project.
Okay. Talk about your project because we don't have
I'd love to ask.
You're so fun to talk to. This is a great conversation.
But it's really fun.
We got a fluff now.
I'm really enjoying it. And so the reason in going through a difficult moment, a pretty dark moment, you guys. I had a experience in my life where I had a long-term relationship with somebody who I thought I could trust. And honestly, I mean, we went to the clinic and got tested together. We had very frank discussions about sexuality and disease. Turns out I found out many years later, that this person was HIV positive and lied to me the whole time. Like literally, we went into the clinic and got tested, but I didn't go into that same room. I believed him. Imagine, okay? And so I had a good 3 months of not knowing what my status was, because that's how long you have to wait for the incubation time. So I started music meditation, and I was just thinking, I just need to do things to keep myself connected to my heart and trusting the universe. And so Spirit taught me the song, Fluff the Goodness. Some people might call it a download,
During that time?
Exactly. When things are going wrong, remember this song and be strong. When things are going right, remember share your light. You got to fluff the goodness. Life beats us down.
Right.
We fluff ourselves back up.
That's right.
And so
I agree.
I've got a really fabulous music video that I've made from this, and even new dance mixes that are coming out, because the message and the practice and the healing modality of it is so palpable for me. Even when I forget to do it, I can really tell the difference in my life. Am I letting these things get to me, or am I remembering that it's about flow? And we fluff it so that, even for that most beaten down, compressed part of ourselves, we can let that chi, that prana, what I also call the cosmic yum, let that energy flow through us again and come back to our own resonance and our love and our light. And so I had started a mission of fluffing the world with love on the eclipse that happened in Oregon was my first activation on a beautiful mountaintop in full view of the solar eclipse.
Is this how it turned into a healing modality?
This is the extension of it.
Okay.
The song turned into a healing modality because I started it as a meditation that became a performance piece, that became a song. And then people were liking the songs. So I created a workshop where people could make their own FLUFFwands. They're
We've
magical
got 3 of them here. 4 of
activism.
them. Yeah.
And it's a shamanic smile stimulation technology device.
And pets love them too.
And pets.
Say that again. It's a smile
Stimulation technology
device.
And
And I'm seeing them. This one has
this
eyes.
is I can here. Do you have a color that you like? My current edition of FLUFFwands, I'm making a line of Crystal FLUFFwands to support this mission of fluffing the world with love. They've actually got little shakers inside. They're FLUFF Rockaas.
Can you describe how they look?
They are on sticks of selenite with big foofy heads, and some of them are vegan and spiky and colorful, and some of them are made with natural feathers, and so they're just, many ways to be foofy, and they all shake so they can stimulate your ears, but also like literally break up the energy in your field if you were studying biogeometry.
Kind of like when you clap into a corner or something.
Exactly. And our science is showing that how effective it is. It's merged with copper, one of our oldest human allies, and the copper is wound around, so it's not only keeping the fuzz on top of the selenite, they are the little cosmic eyeballs.
These are so dang cute.
Thank you.
They are beautiful. I love it.
It's,
That's mine.
Fluffing the Goodness is cosmically designed to share, so there's infinite ways to fluff, but this is a power tool. If you'd like to come and join me, check it out on my site, missygalore.com. FLUFFwands.com. I made a whole bunch of FLUFFwands in preparation for this new moon that is today.
Oh my gosh.
And we're setting the intention that we are literally fluffing the world with love.
Oh, Missy, did
Or
you
fluffing
know
ourselves.
that it's also an 11 day?
A 111.
It's 111. But when you add up 1, 1, 1, and 2, 2, 4 for the year, it's 11. I was like, did she plan
There it
this?
is, a master number.
11's double creativity
And it's Thursday.
in numerology.
Divine right alignment.
Yes.
And it's Thursday, and it's the new moon.
We're talking
Did
about
you plan
this.
this?
It's
You can't make
Great
this stuff
Spirit
up.
brought
I
it all together.
Great Spirit, because this was the day I wanted her to come. I didn't think about that. Okay.
It's perfect timing.
I
You
wanna
can
say this too. You're featured in an award-winning film called We Live in Public.
yes.
And I wanted to make sure we got that into this interview today. Tell us about that.
We Live in Public is a documentary by Andi Timoner, and it's won several awards. It's in the permanent collection at the MoMA. It's a fascinating look at the birth of our internet. And I am lucky enough, I got to be one of the video artists that when people were figuring out the technology of how to transmit images over these phone lines, I got to work through that technology and be one of the featured artists through the years. And in that exploding .com boom, was lucky enough to be a part of that and work with my company, FLUFF Galore. We worked with a lot of wonderful groups like Intel and pseudo programs and people figuring out how to do all that. This film goes through and profiles Josh Harris through an experiment that we did. He had an all original online cable network station when most people were on dial-up in the 90s. Because that company was part of writing how do we chat and have a video next to it? How do we get the video to buffer better? And all these things that we can take for granted now because our phone is so advanced. And so that film goes into that, and an art experiment that we did of a month-long multi-floor installation in New York City. And the idea was anybody could come in, but you had to sign off all your rights because everything was documented and could be reshown. And so we're going to change from having public and private to what is it to live in public. It was 10 years in the making. There was a lot of evolution that happened. Of course, you know, the .com rising up to being so huge. And then, of course, the collapse that happened with NASDAQ and the changes after 9/11. It profiles that whole journey, and you're rubbing up on that sense of what it is with the public and private. And for me, it's an interesting balance. I mean, I'm a Cancer Sun, Leo Moon, you know? I definitely believe in privacy, and yet I definitely cherish the publicness, like us having this conversation, what we get to share and put out there. And so it was a great experience to be in there. I'm about to go back to the Sundance Festival this month and be part of events happening there at the Lighthouse. I would say informing my mission of fluffing the world with love and creating these cosmic yum shows, the valuable continual lesson for me is what is it that we're putting out in public and sharing with the world?
Right.
How do we share? And it's equally as important how we talk to ourselves in our quiet moments. I find for myself, that's my final frontier of cultivating kindness. Can I be as kind to myself as I tell myself to be to the rest of the world? It is so important. It's a continual journey. You'd think all these years of practicing I could do it better, but I'm just, got to be humble on the path.
Yeah.
Be nice to ourselves, be nice to other people, and through the service of my art, which feels like a life mission, a dharmic mission, but just to use really common languages, like honestly, what feels like what keeps me feeling good about myself and my life and the world that we live in is being able to create beauty and share beauty. And even as I start the morning every day with my Democracy Now! Headlines and, think about what's really happening on the planet, because I know that it's really complex, I never want to lose sight of the great gift of what it is to have this human life. We're not on this planet a very long time. And there's a lot of things we have to parse out of the way. Some of them are ours. Some of them are culturally thrown at us. We don't necessarily get to control it all, but we can come into control our reactions, our perceptions. And so these tools and techniques that I craft through these Medi.tainment offerings are to polish that sparkling jewel of the heart so that we can feel this joy and have this peace within ourselves, both in our quiet moments and our personal space where we do get to control a lot, and in the public places where anything can happen.
Well, if we grow up, which I did, and it sounds like you did, and it also sounds like Miss Nicole Starlight also did, is we grow up with a depressed mom and a lot of programming, if you will, into this hard drive here, but it's software. And so that's why we can change it, is because software can be changed.
Absolutely.
So by sitting in years and years and years of depression and anger and whatever occurred for a lot of us, a lot of people, there were women in our lives were oppressed and didn't know how to get out of it. And so they became angry and sad, very depressed. And so the way we talk to ourselves will slip in, even with the conscious awareness that we're supposed to be loving and kind to ourselves. is to be aware of that that's from our history, and to thank those thoughts very much and give them back to whom they belong, whatever that means. Could be your mother or your father, or whatever that means. So then there's a healing that can occur from that. And we forget and go back into, ugh, I'm not perfect. Well, yeah, that's part of it. So you fluff that energy away. Right?
Yeah.
I want to say that if people want to really feel this, what you're describing, they could go online and watch your Fluff the Goodness video.
Yes.
As soon as this is over, they just go to YouTube and type in Fluff the Goodness, Missy Galore.
Yeah, you can go to my Missy Galore channel.
And it's so much fun.
It is fun. I watched some of it yesterday.
When I met you, you showed me that video. And we met at the Relaxpansion Festival.
Right.
2 years ago. And actually, that was the first time you were on KSKQ, wasn't it?
That's true.
I was doing the remote broadcasting,
cool.
and I didn't even know her. She was just
and that's how you met, huh?
sitting. I said, "Do you want to be interviewed on the air?" And she was singing. I was like, "Who is this amazing being?" And then she's like, "I want to give you a gift," and gave me the cosmic fluff wand and played the video. And you just totally uplifted my spirit and my soul. And thank you. I'm really glad you're here.
Me too. I'm so thrilled that you came here. I thought, actually, frankly, I thought that we didn't think alike at all. And we do. It's amazing. I mean, I don't play in the world like you do, but the concepts are phenomenal because they're real.
Things it's the universal, timeless wisdom.
There you go.
And this is part of the expansion that we're in, is that we no longer have to conform like this or look like that. It's not about everybody looking like you, talking like you, acting like you to be great. We're in a modern age, in a melting pot world. And for those of us on the journey of the heart, bringing that to the world, how do we harmonize and coexist and support each other? Because really, we have more in common.
We do.
I really love when you sing. I love your singing. I really want to hear Fluff the Goodness.
Yeah, and we only have a couple minutes, so how about...
Can you...
You don't have.
Are you willing to sing?
But...
I will sing a little bit.
Okay.
Thank
Sing
you.
us out.
What a nice...
And thank you
What
for
a wonderful
so much.
invitation. Okay, I'm going to actually sing the Fluffing the World with Love song. You might want to jump in on the chorus. And as this year goes, I do have a great new dance mix of Fluff the Goodness that's out, and the Missy Galore Fluff page, you see all the different versions of it. This mission here is that we are fluffing the world with love, fluffing ourselves, fluffing our environment, and really seeding that grid with so much goodness, so that, as we know, the way that the Global Coherence Project and different groups in Princeton and whatnot are talking about how the energy we put out really does palpably affect the field.
Sing, girl.
That's what this is for.
Because...
Fluffing the world with love, 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 fluffing the world with love. From the east to the west, to the north, to the south, below and above. Circulating energy like a cosmic hug. In and out, our cycling breath entwines us in the infinite. That's why we're fluffing the world with love, fluffing the world with love, fluffing the world with love, fluffing the world with love. Fluffing the world with love, fluffing the world with love. See the grid that all may live, rainbow bright. harmonize frequencies of dark and light. That's why we fluff with love.
Yes,
So you are
MissyGalore.com.
listening, MissyGalore.com. You are listening to KSKQ 89.5 FM Ashland. And you can hear us streaming like my dear friend in Seattle. She just wrote and said she loves you. And you can hear us on kskq.org all over the world. And thank you so much for being here with us today.
So grateful. Thanks so much for having me. Beaming fluffy love and smiles.
I haven't sung on the radio ever, so there you go. Yeah. All right. Thank you all. Blessings to everyone. We'll have a very interesting guest next week on Life Matters, because it does.
Would you like to feel more joy in your life? Are you ready to release stress? Are you fed up with frustration? Could you use more happiness? Join me here at the Cosmic Yum Happiness Support Society. I'm Shamanatrix Missy Galore, sharing smile stimulation technology, channeling cosmic yum from our central sun. Each show we grow our LOVEolution, because happiness is our birthright. No matter our circumstance in life, embody more powerful love and light with music, meditation, and insight. As within, so without, our journey of LOVEolution. So we dedicate these transmissions to being the living solution. Welcome to the Missy Galore experience.